Hi everyone, good evening. I am Karishma Surana this side from Team WellCure, and I am going to be hosting today's session. I welcome you all to this live introductory session of Anxiety Relief e-learning program. And so before we begin this session, I would like to quickly give a few instructions for it to ensure that the session progresses smoothly. I would request all of you to keep your microphones on mute and your mobile phones on silent. For any communication, we'll use the chat box, and you may want to take notes for future reference. I would request you to ask questions which are relevant to today's topic. And I think most of you are familiar with what WellCure is all about. It is a digital platform for natural health and natural living. There are various sections on our platform, from live sessions, e-learning courses, recordings, ebooks, Q&A support, various recipes, collection of various testimonials of health journeys of people. So to know more about WellCure, you can surely check our website or download our app from App Store or Play Store. So this is how the session format is. We'll talk about what is anxiety, how does it manifest in the body, effects of anxiety on our breath and mind, where do we begin. We'll also talk about yogic approach to manage anxiety. Also practical, yoga nidra meditation will also be there. And then in the end, we'll talk about special offer for the participants, and then Q&A in the end. So this is the session format. I would now like to take a minute out to introduce our program experts to all of you. So our first program expert who is here is Sudeepta. Sudeepta started practicing yoga in her early teens, and she has trained under various yoga teachers in India and the US, and she holds a master in biomedical engineering. Her 900 plus hours of yoga training includes 200 hours of yoga nidra training, level 1 and 2 training in special needs, yin, vinyasa, and many more. She is a lead trainer in TTC programs, and she teaches asanas and pranayams, meditations, and yoga nidra. So it's an honor to have you here, Sudeepta. I would now like to introduce our second program expert, Priyanka Jain, to all of you. So Priyanka has been practicing yoga for the last 8 years, and she's a part of the Eka meditation team. She loves to share learnings from her own practice through the Eka app. So it's an honor to have you as well, Priyanka, here. And I would just like to welcome both of you, and over to you, Priyanka and Sudeepta. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karishma. Thanks a lot. Hello, all of you. I think there are still people just joining, so we will kind of take a moment or two, and I think we can use that time to relax a little bit. Sudeepta, should we start with a short relaxation practice?
Let's start with a few rounds of abdominal breathing. So I encourage all of you to sit comfortably, and if you have had a very long day, you can even lie down, just don't go to sleep. Bend your knees and place your feet on the ground if you're lying down. Otherwise, sit comfortably with your spine upright and shoulders relaxed. And gently close your eyes. Just observing your natural breath for a few moments. You can place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. And notice how the body moves as you breathe. Let's exaggerate the movement of the belly. As you inhale, expand it like a balloon. And as you exhale, feel the air escaping naturally without any extra effort. Inhale and expand your belly. Exhale and draw the belly in. Two more times by yourself, without straining, smooth, deep and slow breath in and out. And after you're done with that exhale, relax both your hands down and notice any difference in how you feel just from 2 minutes ago. And now gently open your eyes. Welcome everyone. That was a short abdominal breathing practice. And what a difference 2 minutes can make, right? So Priyanka, I think we can get started.
Yes. So let me share my screen. Just a second. Yeah. Okay.
Priyanka, if you can disable annotations.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Is that okay now, Karishma?
Yes.
Okay. So hello everyone. I'll just quickly talk about Eka. So Eka is a yoga and meditation app. We also have meditation and pranayam classes, and we are really happy to have this program for WellCure, and we're really grateful to them for giving us this platform. Because it's really nice to think about a mental illness, and to think about it in a way that it can be cured holistically, right? So this is the approach that we are taking, that like all other illnesses, right, there is a way to treat anxiety also holistically, and the program kind of tries to teach you those tools and techniques that you can use to relieve anxiety. So how I start, how I would like to start is to just talk about some of the concepts, that you will encounter if you sign up for the program, and so that you can connect better as you go through them. So what is anxiety, right? We all, I mean, all of us have gone through it at some point, so for some of us, it may be a recurring thing. It may come again and again, and that's when it becomes a problem. But some glimpse of it all of us have. But I would just like to kind of, describe it in this way from my own experience, that sometimes, right, there are some thoughts or some behavioral patterns in our lives that become so predominant, right, that become so powerful that they keep recurring again and again, and they kind of inhibit our ability to be in the moment, to be doing what we are doing in the moment, and to be able to see what we are seeing in the moment completely, to be able to feel what we are feeling in the moment completely. So they kind of become like a shield in a perception, and they trigger certain kind of responses repeatedly again and again, which doesn't let us feel calm or settled. There is constant feeling of movement in the mind, right? Like a bird when it's trying to stay afloat in water. It's that kind of a feeling, and we are trying to survive through that, right? So for example, right, like a simple thing, like a simple exercise that we just did right now, where we were kind of feeling our breath, right? But as we are trying to feel our breath, there is this constant bombardment of maybe some kind of thoughts, something that happened. Now that necessarily is not anxiety. That is how just the mind works. But when we are anxious, right, that is happening through us all the day in all the things that we are doing, right? So that's how it starts to manifest, and that kind of makes us dysfunctional. For example, I'll tell you from my own experience. Whenever I feel anxious, right? If I get up and I have to brush my teeth, I would go to the washroom, I'll brush my teeth, I'll keep it back. I will not know where I kept my brush. I will not know where I picked my brush from. I will be so disconnected with whatever is happening because there is a constant background chatter that is probably going continuously in my mind. So I'll not even probably see the needs of the people who are around me, right? And it may manifest as fear, it may manifest as worry, constant worrying about something, constant fear, or it may have an unknown kind of a source which has been there with us since childhood, and it's constantly triggering some kind of behavior, but we don't know what the thought is. We just see the behavior, the action. So all these are examples of anxiety, and there are some triggers, right? That triggered. So COVID maybe triggered something in us, right? Because it kind of brought something up from the past or brought something up for us, which was we were trying to kind of function, in a way, and then suddenly something was brought up, and now we become constantly thinking about it. It could be grief also, it could be guilt also. There are so many thoughts that can occur. So that is the first kind of concept as to how it manifests in life, right? Now, the second thing that we kind of, we can understand is that how does it impact us on a day-to-day basis? See, the body is trying to survive. So when you have something that causes anxiety, body does not know, the mind does not, the breath does not know, or how we function, right? Our day-to-day behavior is kind of just seeing it as an emotional response. So it may see that, oh, I am fearful, or I am right now worried. And that triggers a certain response in our body. So when we are afraid, or when we are constantly afraid about something, or fearful about something, or worried about something, the body starts to put more and more emphasis on that, right? So you are kind of always managing your mind. So the other systems of your body, it could be digestion, it could be, your posture, it could be some pain it manifests in, right? So your body then starts compromising on these other functions. So belly will become tight, your breath will become shorter. So in a way, what we are saying is that the way our mind is working, the body and the breath start to develop a similar pattern. Okay, they'll start to develop a similar pattern. So slouching, not being able to sit straight, pain, not being able to wake up, right? So sleep patterns really get affected. So this is the second kind of thing that starts to happen, that it kind of starts to reflect in our body. And our nervous system, it operates in two modes, and Sudipta can talk more about it as she talks about the techniques. We have this calm and relaxed state of the nervous system when we are sleeping, or when we are relaxed, when we are digesting food, or when we are so when we are relaxed, there is certain processes that take over, and when we are agitated, there are certain other processes that take over, right? So the belly becomes tight, we are ready to fight, or we are ready to fly from that situation. A similar response, what we would have had as as a species in the past, right, where a lion shows up and we are fearful, so we have to run, we have to do something. So the energy then tries to do something, the reaction is coming out. So that's why there is this quick response, quick anger, you shout at people, you are excited, you are there's overexcitement sometimes about some things. There is the response is then not optimal, it is a reactionary response. So that is the second thing that kind of happens when we are anxious. So one is that disconnection from what is happening, and the second is this the reaction in the body, in the nervous system, when this is happening. So now the third thing that I want to talk about, and that will be, how do you kind of go from here to a place of calm, right? So if you understand the first two things about what happens, the whole idea about what you will hear in the next, few slides is that how do you come back to the task that you were doing? So the idea is that, okay, if you were watching your breath, how do you come back to just watching your breath and not let these thoughts that have come up, to bother you. Or say if you're doing brushing your teeth, how can you be more present, right? How can you notice everything that was there? How can you notice if the water is overflowing? How can you notice that, you know, your daughter needed something, or your husband needed something, or your, you know, sister needed something? That is what is the process of it, right? So the how do you come back to these things is the whole idea of mindfulness, the whole idea of awareness, the whole idea of meditation kind of gets us to this point where how can we be more present in our lives, right? So that is the, like, whatever we want to talk about in the next few slides is about how do you train yourself to not get lost, or how do you reduce the power of those dominant thoughts or dominant patterns in your life, and you come back to this calm state of survival where, you know, you are actually just present in doing what you're doing and not lost in overthinking. So the how does anxiety show up, right? This is also an important point to talk about, and as I just spoke about, right? So it shows up in the nervous system, but with that, it shows up in the body because your body starts to follow a pattern, right? So if you're too fearful, if you're too worried, the body kind of starts to overemphasize certain things, or, you know, certain responses in the body versus, you know, a calm state of mind where there's probably just, so it's looking at life, you know, in a way that, or a machine in a way where if certain system of the machine is compromised, that part becomes weaker, the muscles around it becomes weaker, the operation around it becomes weaker, and then it has a trigger effect, and the weakest link breaks, right? So you can get a disease, you can get any kind of ailments, and your productivity will go down, your focus will go down, your performance will go down, right? So the overall, the body is not performing optimally. So this is what is happening also with anxiety. It also shows up in the breath because the mind and the breath are totally interlinked. So you start breathing shallow, you start noticing that you're only breathing from the chest because the stomach is always tight, because the gut is the, you know, immediate connection with the brain. So as soon as you start having anxiety, your stomach, you get started holding the stomach tight. I think the first thing that we did was abdominal breathing, and Sudipta will again talk more about the techniques. But the body and the breath also start developing a pattern similar to the pattern of the mind, right? So this is one of the other things that we kind of need to know. Now, why yoga, right? And see, there are so many different approaches to anxiety. Obviously, there is, you know, you can go to a psychiatrist. There's medication, but why yoga? And if you see traditionally how yoga was a practice for the mind, so all the practices in yoga, if you look at, you know, Ashtanga yoga, the Patanjali system, right? The highest state is samadhi, and at the bottom rung is in the third bottom is asana, right? So it starts with the body. But the ultimate state is a state of calm, and samadhi is being completely in sync with the object, right? That's how samadhi, if you see the real definition of samadhi, that is exactly what we talk about in mindfulness, right? So where you are, can you be in complete sync, in complete connection with the present? So yoga by definition is completely opposite to anxiety. And as you know, as you start to practice yoga, right, you start to see that first it kind of addresses the body, the patterns of the body start to break, and as the patterns of the body start to break and the patterns of the breath start to break, your patterns of the nervous system start to change and the patterns of the mind start to change, right? So this is at the lower rank. If you talk about asana and pranayama, how asana and pranayama will help you in anxiety. This is a very loose way of explaining you that it starts to bring your body into balance, right? And as you bring your body into balance, like how mind affects the body also can in turn affect the mind. So, you know, you bring the body into balance, then you bring the breath into balance, trigger your nervous system to go into the relaxed mode through the response of your body, and that will affect how calm you feel, how relaxed you feel. But the main practice that over time, in the long term, that, you know, we all need to build, and that's the main, I would say, weapon against anxiety. And that's come through my own personal practice. What I've learned is two things. One is this understanding that we are not our thoughts, right? So this is the first, I would say, important thing to kind of really contemplate over. And once you start contemplating, you see it everywhere, right? So there's a concept called, witnessing, where we say that we are not our thoughts, we are not our body, we are not our breath, but we are kind of looking at all of this as an observer, and we are making a distance from it and saying that we'll not be affected by it, right? So at the broadest level, I would say, if you do any meditation, if you go to any meditation class, right, this is the first kind of concept that you understand, that you listen, and then I think it only comes when you contemplate on it, the idea that you are not any of this, but you are the witness. And the second concept, I think, the second most important, another very important concept is that you begin to see the reality of only life. So you say that I'm going to build an anchor into my life, which will bring me back to the present moment. Okay, so this, what that means is, if you are meditating, right, you will connect with your breath. And if you hold your breath as the anchor, that every time a thought comes, I'm going to come back to my breath. Every time the thought comes, I'm going to come back to my breath. I'm going to observe the thought, I'm going to come back to my breath. This anchor, as you build that anchor into your life, by meditating daily on that anchor, the power of the thought starts to reduce, right? And then you will slowly, whenever whatever you're doing, you will constantly be aware of your anchor, right? So that becomes your mind, that is what mindfulness becomes. And that's why meditation works, right? So yoga has various components. It has meditation, it has pranayam, it has body work. And now I'll just hand over to Sudipta, who will take you through the techniques and tell you what are those techniques with which you change the pattern of the body, the mind, and then finally the meditation you will find in the program. Sudipta, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Priyanka. You can just change the slide. So how can yoga help to bring us back to balance, especially when we are in that moment of an anxious thought? Yeah, this is the right side. And in the Welter program, we have 7 yogic techniques to manage anxiety on a daily basis. So we work with the body. Most of the time we think of the body as just a way to experience life around us. We move through our physical space with the body and we experience life around us. But yoga teaches us that the body is also an incredibly powerful and effective tool to manage the mind. So we start with movement practices. And in the program, you'll find that not just asana, any physical practice will help you to release energy. But there are a few things to keep in mind. So I want you to take a moment to think about yourself. Okay, some of us are very hyper in the mind. There are a lot of thoughts running around in the mind, but the body feels very dull or lethargic, or it may even be very hard to get out of bed in the morning. So this is one type. The other type is where you're extremely active. Maybe you run a lot, gym a lot, swim a lot, or are involved in some team sport, and you're extremely active in the physical body. But you cannot relax and let go. When you go to bed at night, you're not able to go to sleep. So, or even to sit for a few moments and relax. So that is where you're high strung even in the physical body. So just take a moment to think about which category you fall into. It may be that you don't experience either of these. There are many other ways that you may experience anxiety. But for the physical body, take a moment to think about how you feel. And you don't have to share it, but just mentally take a note of it. I'll give you a few moments. And once you have identified that, then you can start working with yourself to find balance. Okay, so 100% physical exercise is a great way to release energy. You can move to the next slide, Priyanka, that's fine. But it has to be followed up with some amount of stretching and relaxation, because that's the part that gets missed out sometimes. So the physical exertion can exacerbate the situation in some cases. So if you are one of those people who is very active, but you're not able to relax, then you can supplement or complement your physical activity with some asanas for stretching, relaxation, and yoga nidra to help you to relax and let go. And if you fall into the other category where you have a hyper mind, but the body is very dull and lethargic, they have a different set of practices for you. And I'll share one practice which is effective for both types of people, whether you are very high strung in the body or you're very lethargic in the body. For both people, this works very well. And this is a practice called tense and relax. In the Western world, it's called progressive muscle relaxation. So I encourage you to try it out with me. Okay, let's do it together. You can be in a chair, you don't have to be on the floor. Just stretch your legs out in front of you if you are on the floor. I'm sorry? Okay, all right, so let's begin. Bring your hands out in front of you and make tight fists with your hands. Tighten your forearms, your elbows, your upper arms. Hunch and squeeze the shoulders, chest, belly, hips, buttocks, thighs, knees, calf muscles, feet, all the way down to your toes. Squeeze and hold that tension. Include your face in this. Make a funny face like you've eaten something very sour. And hold this tension. Continue to breathe. Bring all your tensions into your muscles now. And when you can't hold any longer, breathe out, unclench your fists, relax your arms, relax your shoulders, relax your face, the torso, relax the legs and the feet. Keep your eyes closed and feel the sensations that are coming from the body. You may experience some tingling or some warmth or coolness. Each breath helping you relax and let go more. Good. And slowly open your eyes. So this practice had the first part where we did a lot of tensing and the second part where we did the relaxation, letting go, which is hard for some of us. So physically moving from one extreme to another extreme helps you to come back to balance. So if you want, you can type out in the chat how you're feeling now after doing tense and relax. And so that is about the body. And in the program, you'll find that we have different ways to work with the body. Asana practice is one, tense and relax is another. And the third one is a practice where you don't really have to move the body, where you just move your mind's awareness. And that's called body rotation of awareness. It's in modern terms, it's called a body scan. So you basically just move your mind's awareness from one body part to the other and consciously let go of tension without moving the body, just in Shavasana or in a seated posture, scanning and relaxing the body consciously. So this is much more effective and very different from sleeping at night. Consciously relaxing the muscles gives a much deeper effect than falling asleep. So this is something that has been discovered. It's called non-sleep deep rest, which is basically a Western version of saying yoga nidra. So one of the steps of the yoga nidra practice. Priyanka, can we move on to the next slide? Yeah. So the next tool that we have inbuilt within us is our breath. And Priyanka was talking about how we can come back to the present moment. And that's the key to kind of relieving ourselves from the stressful situation or the thoughts that are running through our mind. And one of the most effective ways is to work with the breath. You may have noticed that when you are anxious, it's very difficult to sit quietly and meditate. So when you sit down in silence, the thoughts become louder and louder. So for that particular situation, the best way to find something very close to meditation is using a pranayama practice, a breathwork practice. So that would be practices like abdominal breathing, which we did right at the beginning of the session, or a practice of Bhramari Pranayam, which is the humming deep breath. It's a very popular type of practice where you just make the humming sound after as you breathe out. So this works with what Priyanka was calling the rest and digest aspect of our nervous system. Our nervous system has two parts. One is activated when we are stressed. It's called the sympathetic nervous system. So if you're in a situation which is stressful, a long time ago, it used to be when a predator is attacking you, but now it could just be a deadline, an exam. It could be meeting someone, a social situation. So all of these can create a similar kind of response to the body, the stress response. And that's fine. And if you see any animal if you've gone to a national park, if there is an attack by a predator, and if the animal manages to escape, all it does is just shrugs off, it shakes off fully, and then the stress is gone from the body and it moves on. But we don't do that. We don't move our body to get rid of the stress. We are constantly sitting and in one place. So what we could do is we could do the breathwork practices to stimulate the opposite aspect, which is the rest and digest aspect of our being, where we slow down our breathing, where we allow the abdomen to relax. So I'd like you to kind of put in the chat box, if you are okay with it, about where do you experience anxiety in your body? Is it in the form of breath? Is it in the form of tightness in the body, or pain in the body? Is it in the form of breathlessness or rapid breathing or sweating? What is it that you experience? And you could, I think you have the ability to just type to me if you don't want to put it in the group. Migraine, so head, pain in the chest, shallow breathing, butterflies in the stomach, tinnitus, sound in my ears when anxious, dizziness, headache, pressure, heart and breath. So yeah, so these symptoms are falling into the categories of physical things that we experience in terms of pain, physiological things like the heart starts beating faster, or the breath becomes more rapid or shallow. So those are physiology related, function related, or it could be emotional, like some people may feel angry or have an emotional response to a situation, start crying or something. Any of these aspects could be affected. Pain in the neck, shoulder, yeah, angry, yeah. So all of these nauseous, shaking hands, shifting, yeah. So all of these are really good examples of how anxiety manifests in the body. So let's do a short practice called Bhramari Pranayam, which will help us to come back to balance. Never thought of it before, but increased circulation, face goes red. Yeah. So actually, when we are stressed, our blood supply is sent to the extremities, so to our limbs and to the skin surface and to the muscles. So there is definitely more blood supply going to the outward part than to the digestive system, which is the inside part. Breathing problem. Okay, all right. So let's start with Bhramari, so we can get a little bit of relief and notice the difference in how we feel after the practice. So let's start sitting comfortably with your spine upright, shoulders relaxed. You can even be seated in a chair with your feet flat on the ground. And gently close your eyes. Some of you have joined a little bit later, so I'd like you to all observe your breath again. Notice if it is fast or slow. And now I want you to count how long your inhale breath is and how long your exhale breath is. You don't need to use your timer or watch. Simply mentally count 1, 2, 3, 4, and see how long the inhale breath is and how long the exhale breath is. Just relax natural breathing. Try not to change the rhythm of your breath. Which is longer, inhale or exhale? And mentally make a note of that. And now we're going to do Bhramari, which is the humming breath. So as you exhale, you're going to make the Makara sound, sound. For this, keep your teeth slightly apart, but your lips fully closed. You're going to breathe in through the nose. I'll show you once. And we'll do this with the hands relaxed. Okay, breathe in through the nose. And hum till you run out of breath. Let's do this a few times together. Keep your eyes closed and begin. Breathe in through the nose. And now place one palm on the top of your head and repeat the same thing 2 more times. Eyes are still closed. Breathe in through your nose. One more time. And feel the sensation against the palm on the top of your head. Try to feel the sound vibrations. We'll do 3 more rounds of humming, just 3. But this time, I want you to plug your ears so you're completely cut off from the external world. Bring your elbows out to shoulder height. Bend the elbows and plug your ears 3 times. Breathing in through the nose and start. When you're done, release your hands down and notice the effect of Bhramari . And slowly open your eyes. So I actually just saw the message about the instruction for the teeth. Basically, you just keep the teeth apart. So the jaw is separated, the lower jaw is separated from the top jaw and the lips are closed. So there's a very little gap between the upper and lower row of teeth. The only reason for that is otherwise the teeth start vibrating against each other. And if you have sensitive teeth, it makes it very uncomfortable. So what I want you to note from this Bhramari Pranayam practice is we all kind of checked in with our breath before and counted the inhale and the exhale. Compared to what you notice in the normal breath, in Bhramari, you'll notice that the exhale is so much longer. It's probably 2-3 times. Effortlessly, the exhale is much, much longer than the inhalation. And this is very important to note because the exhale puts the body in parasympathetic mode, whereas the inhale puts the body into sympathetic or stressed mode. So when we inhale, our heart rate goes up a little bit. And when we exhale, the heart rate goes down a little bit. So by extending that exhale, we go into parasympathetic mode, which is rest and digest aspect of our being. And somebody has rightly noted that they're feeling a little bit sleepy after Brahmi. And it is a wonderful way to help you fall asleep at night if you're having difficulty with your sleep. So that's a very personal, very good observation. There's nothing bothering us in the mind after Brahmari. So I asked you to put your hand on the top of the head. So you're able to feel those vibrations moving against your hand. So so every cell of your body is actually experiencing this sound vibration. Not just your throat where the vibration starts, but the entire head, neck, shoulders, arms, torso, all the way down to your toes. So if you do several rounds of Brahmari, then the vibrations are continuously flowing through the body, relaxing them, soothing them, almost like, someone is packing you to sleep at night, kind of like that. It creates this rhythmic relaxation in the body. So Brahmari is very, very important and very good way to deal with anxiety. Can we move on to if you have any comments, you can, we've already done belly breathing, so we can skip this slide. We did it at the beginning of the session. So now we'll come to the last part of our course, which is recognizing patterns. So in the long-term management of anxiety, like for example, Brahmari is a quick release. Feeling anxious, you do Brahmari and you kind of have a short break from that thought pattern that you're stuck in, or relief from some pain, or relief from whatever, however anxiety manifests in the body. But what about the long term? How can I manage my anxiety for the next 2 years so that I get fewer episodes, and even if they are there, they just last for a very short time and go away. So for this, we need to start observing and recognizing the patterns that we have collected in our life. How do we do that? How do we start observing and recognizing patterns? We can only do that if we can identify the trigger. And then when we identify the trigger, we can think about what is the reason I'm getting triggered in this situation. And then the question is, how do I identify the trigger? Well, you can only identify it if you are calm enough to notice that this is the thing that is triggering me. When I go into this social situation, I have a fear of this happening. So that is what the trigger is for me. Then you can start analyzing. But we are not even aware of what the triggers are initially. So all of the practices that we have done are going to help us get into that calm state of mind, so that we can start exploring what are our triggers, why are they triggers for us, and what are the patterns that we have collected over our lifespan, which are making us react to this particular situation. It's a regular situation for most people, but for me, it is a trigger. I am reacting to it instead of responding to it. What are some of these practices that can help us become calm? The first one is an attitude of gratitude. So gratitude is a way which helps you to see the big picture. When we are anxious, we are only thinking about that one thought or that one situation. And it's kind of like tunnel vision. We only think about that because we're caught in the loop of that negative thought pattern. To break out of it, one of the ways is to look at the big picture. What are all the things that are working for me? Friends, family, maybe certain objects and devices in your life. Maybe you have access to a walking path. So what are all the things that we are grateful for? We can think about that and make a list. So that is one way. which can help us see the big picture and come out of that negative thought pattern. Second is affirmation. In yoga, the concept is called sankalpa, a way to crystallize our goals, our what we want in life. We think about that and make our affirmation set, and we repeat that affirmation to ourselves every day in a relaxed state of mind. That brings about a lot of change. It's very, very powerful. And the last one I would say is Yog Nidra. A constant everyday practice of Yog Nidra will help to do all of the things that we have talked about today. First, it helps us to release physical tension from the body because we do tense and relax. Then we move our awareness through the body parts. Then we do awareness of our breath. And then we do some affirmation, some gratitude, something positive at the end, and we come out of the practice. So all of Yog Nidra also helps us to reset our sleep cycle. It helps us to improve our sleep quality. So once we start doing all of these practices, these long-term practices, we become more and more calm. And of course, if sleep is taken care of, half the battle is won for most of us, because sleeping is an issue. We're not able to sleep, or we're able to fall asleep, but the sleep is disturbed. We wake up in a sweat and we can't go back to sleep. So these are the practices that we recommend that you start adopting to help in the long-term management. Then you'll be easily able to recognize the triggers and the patterns behind those triggers. So I'd like to now, Priyanka, if you can also come back on. Sleep is the main issue. Some of you have directly messaged me, yes. And if you're looking for Yog Nidra, I would say, you can use the Eka Meditation channel on YouTube. We have practices in Hindi, English, Kannada, Tamil, Marathi. Sometimes it's nice to practice in your mother tongue. So you can, Gujarati also. So
Konkani also.
Konkani also, yes. I forgot
my
own
also, I
mother.
think the main thing is that it's in the program. A very good recording, a few very good recordings are in the program. So if you join the Welcome program, you will find that all of these with the theory is very, very much, I think we've shared. And if there's something that you need to ask, we'll share more. So you can just ask your questions there and we will share more. So yeah, but I would, the program kind of gives you everything together. So sign up. And
yes, so all of the practices we have discussed today are in the program. And I try to give you a little bit of experience of the steps also. And I hope that it gives you a glimpse of what's in the program. Of course, it's a little bit longer when you go in the actual program. Can you brief about the program? Yeah, so the program has 7 management techniques from yoga, yogic tools of management. We have some physical, some breathwork based, and I think it's abdominal breathing and Bhramari. And then we have the practices of rapid visualization, which is again a wonderful practice. It just helps you to refresh, recharge, and it stimulates all areas of the brain, bringing balance. So I was telling earlier about how opposites in the physical body, tense and relax, helps us bring balance to the body. Similarly, by doing rapid visualization, it comes from the practice of Chidakash Dharana. It's a modification of that. When we do this practice, it stimulates different areas of the brain. And that way we can bring a balance between the creative and the logical mind. And our overstimulated amygdala, the fear response kind of settles down. Does it take place daily live? So there are 2 things. One is that we have the WellCure program, which is a recorded set of practices that you can follow. It is self-paced. You can do it over a period of 6 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever suits you. If you're asking about daily, that is a separate program that Eka has, where we have daily meditation classes. Okay, so that is something you can contact us directly for.
Yes.
Just 1 minute, Sudeepta. Karishma, is there something that you need to say? Because I think you said you'll walk them through the program.
Yeah. So sorry for interrupting, but we can talk about the course details and course offer first, and then maybe you can take over with the Q&A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Please
Okay.
do. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just share my screen. Priyanka, can you stop sharing your screen? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Karishma, you can upload the. So, hi, I'm Ankur. I'm co-founder of WellCare, and it's been a great session. And we've just launched a course almost a month back, and I'm glad that I was able to convince Priyanka and Sudipta to bring this course on our platform, because we felt that it is a need of an hour to have a program like this. And I can vouch for the quality of teaching of all three, Sudipta, Priyanka, and Swami Yoga, who's my teacher for Yoga Nidra. So all of them come with a diverse and a very rich experience of and also the program, they made it a contemporary. It's not just a bunch of meditation or practices coming together. So but it has been curated and designed in a manner that it actually gives the benefit on day-to-day basis, and it doesn't just remain a one-off thing. You just buy and don't do it. We encourage people to do our programs, because when they get the benefit, that's how they the course partnership and it grows. So in terms of program, as Sudipta has given an overview, that it is a combination of I can say a combination of three practices or three set of practices, body, mind, and spirit, or head, heart, or hands, wherein the physical postures, which are specifically designed, like tense and relax and other practices, are there. And then comes a part of the mind, wherein we're using breath, so pranayama and different versions for that, as well as the practices of Yoga Nidra, which is a very powerful practice. Although from a generic understanding, we can say it's a meditation practice, but it is actually a pre-meditation practices, and a step, because meditation, many people still find it's difficult when they start off. And pratyahara practices and Yoga Nidra practices, and effectively means it's a very easy pathway. You don't it's a very guided practice, and you can really start from A and you can go to Z. In teams, there is no limit to the depth, and that's why there is a lot of popularity in the practice, which is there. And these practices have been specifically designed by Sudipta and Swami Yogratna for anxiety management. And the best part is, this program you can access via laptop, and also conveniently through the mobile app, as per your convenience, because after the theory you would like to do the practice, you can easily do that through your mobile. And yes, there will be support to the questions. So yeah, next slide, you can move on, Karishma. Yeah, so we've gone through. Karishma, can you stop sharing for a moment? I just want to give people an overview how the program looks. Yeah, thank you. So I'll just give you an overview how the program actually looks. Yeah. So this is how the program looks. And you can see that the different set of practices are there in terms of 7 yogic techniques, what Sudipta has spoken about, including abdominal breathing and different Brahmari Pranayam, as well as the, regrounding and sound meditation and rapid visualization. And then we have a section in terms of affirmation. So all the, you don't not only get the practice, but a little background, because then it gives you a more complete understanding. So that's the little preview of the program. You can easily go and go through the program by yourself. And then we have section on quick relief, a guidance on if you have some panic attack or an anxious moment, how you can manage, and then long-term management of anxiety. So that's the whole program is about. So yeah, you can now project the screen. I'll just stop sharing. Yeah, Karishma, you can now upload the offer, so that then we can take up the questions after that.
Yes, I'm just sharing my screen.
Yeah. So we are giving a special, launch offer to everyone who's there. It's valid till 30th of September, and a course worth 1 year access at 749 rupees. I think it's a steal, and I would encourage everyone to invest, see it more as an investment. And I'm sure we'll be able to bring in more programs. We are working with ECHA to bring in more programs, and you will be able to progress further and address different problems, including sleep or other mental disorders, using yogic techniques. But this would be a very good beginning, I can say, because it sets the foundation for the program. So the link will be active, and after you make the payment within 24 hours, you will get the access to the program. And if you're paying via Paytm and GPay, please ensure that you share the payment screenshot, because we don't get the details except that payment have been received, along with your full name and email and mobile number, so that we can give the access. We'll put all these links in the WhatsApp group also, and in the chat also. Karishma will be putting the link for payment. So the page will be active, where you can still scan the code and make the payment. And now I would request that we can take up the questions. So Karishma, you'll do the moderation, or you want me to do it?
You can do that.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll do the moderation part. So okay, so I think the link have been shared. So how many days and timing this program? So this is a pre-recorded program, Monica. So you will have access for full 1 year, and you can do it at your own pace. So rapid visualization has been answered. Sleep deprive. Okay. So so there are questions related to sleep, and can you address that, how this program and link with sleep and anxiety, and how this program can help in addressing the sleep issue as well to some extent?
Yes, I'm just trying to find the question.
No, actually,
I can
the
just
question
talk
is
about sleep. I'll just talk about sleep. So one of the reasons why we are not able to fall asleep at night is because we are not able to relax the physical body, or it's a combination of the mind being super active and the body could be relaxed. So to get the mind to relax, we move the body with the practice called tense and relax at the beginning of the Yoga Nidra. And that kind of takes the body up to the level of the mind, and then both relax simultaneously in sync, and then you can go to sleep at night. Once you get the sleep problem fixed, once you're able to fall asleep, Yoga Nidra also takes you deeper into a state of rest than a regular sleep cycle. So it's commonly said, if you do 1 hour of Yoga Nidra, you get equivalent of 4 hours of sleep at night, 1:4 ratio. So it's as good as getting 4 hours of deep sleep. So it's a very, very powerful technique for deep relaxation. That is Yoga Nidra. But also, if you do Bhramari, like someone commented that they were feeling sleepy, Bhramari helps you to do the same thing because it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the resting aspect of our nervous system. That also helps you to fall asleep at night. I can answer a few of these questions. Do we have to follow all the techniques mentioned in the course every day? No, you don't have to follow all of them. It depends on your schedule. So you can do, suppose on a day you have half an hour and you want to do some movement, you can do the asana practice, because I think that is about 27 to 30 minute asana practice. But what we do recommend doing daily is a pranayama practice. Every single day, it would be great if you can start your day with pranayama before you eat food. And you could also do it midday before lunch and then in the evening. So pranayama is extremely, extremely effective. And as you discover the different aspects of the course, you will start liking certain practices. Like you may connect with Yoga Nidra, you may connect with the pranayama, you may connect with the body scan. So whichever one you connect with, you can start using that on a daily basis. The repetition of practice creates a pattern. It's a new pattern away from the pattern of anxiety and negative thinking. So whichever you connect with, I would say, repeat it. And another one that I think would be really helpful is to do the affirmations or the gratitude every day before you sleep at night. So these are the two that I recommend doing every day.
The program actually is step by step. So we do the easier things first and then, the things that need more awareness, more attention. So you follow the program and, if you like something, you're automatically, you will say, okay, I slept with that. So why don't I repeat that? So, but the program is designed in a step-by-step way. So you will, once you start doing it, once you do the whole thing, you will have your own, yourself, you will know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's a very good point.
Yeah,
because, working with the physical body is very accessible for most of us. Once you start doing the body related, whether it's movement or it's body scan, it's something that we can easily feel compared to our mind. So start with that, and then, like Priyanka said, it all kind of flows one after the other. It's designed that way.
So, Sudipta, there's a few questions about any side effect on body or diabetic or asthma patient, any restrictions which is there?
No, there is no restriction. We don't have any practices there which are which have contraindications. We've chosen the practices which are very good for everyone.
Except I think we have Surya Namaskar in the practice. If you find it
no, we didn't select that one. No, we didn't put that one. We just put the other one. Yes.
Only the asana practice. There's only one video for asana practice, and if you find that you find it a little difficult to do, you don't do it. I mean, that's what we will say. Like you be conscious of that. Otherwise, all the practices are safe. And you can ask question also if you feel pain while doing asana. You can just ask on the question channel. We'll answer there. Sudhir, do you want to say, is this different from normal yoga classes? Do you want to answer that question?
Program,
yes,
so we can,
it is a little bit different from normal yoga classes because, see, in a regular yoga class, it is you have to take care of everyone. You have some beginner students, some intermediate students, some advanced students. So this program is designed for anxiety. So we focus on grounding practices. We focus on centering. We help to connect inward and stay grounded. Because anxiety is more about the mind, where the mind is racing and you feel out of control. So the cues that we've given in the class are also about feel the feet on the ground. You know, the cues are such that it will help you to reground, recenter, and come back to that stillness that Priyanka was talking about earlier. Of course, all yoga classes should help you to feel relaxed and balanced at the end, but it's a little bit different.
About live, like all of us, you are asking about live classes. So we do have live classes that you could attend as well, and you can just email us separately about that. But the program kind of is being designed in a very self-paced way too, so that if you start trying, that may work too very well for you, because we have people who've used just guided sessions and have been helped a lot. So both of these are possible.
Yeah, and in terms of the two more questions which are, I think, which I can address. One is in terms of language. So hopefully we'll bring with Eka only a course on, or content related to at least Hindi. So there's few programs we can build in. And second will be in terms of few people are requesting for mental health counseling. Yes, we have a mental health counselor on board. We'll share the link in the group itself about those who wanted to enroll for that. So I think that's good for now, and recording link will be put up after a few hours, and we'll email also. And feel free to get in touch with us on our email elearning@wellcure.com and for any queries. And this offer will be active till 30th of September. Yeah, sure. We'll put up the link, and in the email you'll receive, you'll get the link for booking the mental health counseling session as well. So thanks, Sudipta. Thanks, Priyanka, for session today. And I think there is just one last question. Is there on ADHD? You want to take that up, Sudipta? Will this program be relevant for ADHD?
Yeah, so what is the age group of the person with ADHD? Because if it's a child, then we work very differently with children. It may not work for a child, but if it is an adult, I think that all the quick release practices, yeah, even the Bhramari and yeah, so I think everything would work except probably for the asana practice, where it is a longer duration. For ADHD, we do it a little bit differently, but all the other practices will definitely work.
Great, thank you. So thanks a lot, and I'm sure that this program will address even broader issues than anxiety. But I would say it's a very good starter to get initiated into practices of mental well-being using yoga, and we hope to bring more programs soon in this space, and even some live programs. So thanks a lot, and we'll connect soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankur.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sudipta. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening ahead.